most of the barracks, the allocation being made is zero. How do we expect the personnel of the military to perform while their living standard is inadequate? All the zones, all the provision that be made, the allocation 2024 is zero. And these are the people that we expect them to perform magic. And for us in the ministry, we have a lot of challenges. The chairman has rightly says that you have scrutinized the performance of 2024 budget. But we have some challenges. One, we have an inadequate budgetary provision. The headquarters and civilian personnel unit are unable to meet their obligations, resulting in the accumulation of debt on services and staff entitlement. We have non-payment and accumulated bills of group life insurance, which is very important, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the very important issues that we have is non-payment and accumulated bills of group life insurance for military personnel, which I believe or I requested the committee for consideration of maybe the sum of 20 billion as an additional funds for payment of families of deceased military personnel. That is one of our challenges. In conclusion, honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, the ministry is, okay, I think we have another issue. Mr. Chairman, if you look at the budget of 2024, most of the barracks, the allocation being made is zero. How do we expect the personnel of the military to perform while their living standard is inadequate? Both all the zones, all the provision that be made, the allocation 2024 is zero. And these are the people that we expect them to perform magic. And for us in the ministry, we have a lot of challenges. Many people are calling us, like my friend, Honorable Sarasoli Sokoto, we have a lot of challenges. But all is heading to the ministers or the Ministry of Defense. While look at the budget of 2025, just 50 billion. We have shortfall of 18 billion of the last year's budget. And people expect the ministry to do wonders. I was in Sokoto, the honorable member will testify to that. I went to Sokoto by myself. Nobody sponsored me to go to Sokoto. I did it in my pocket, just to ensure people sleep with both their two eyes closed. My colleague Badar went to Zamfara, he went to Katsina, the same thing, because there is no provision in the budget. In fact, the Ministry of Defense is supposed to provide some equipment for some of the zones, but we cannot. Out of what we have in 2024, we can be able to provide just 20 APCs. What 20 APCs can do in Katsina alone, Mr. Chairman, if we can be able to have 50 APCs that can go inside bush to flush out those criminals, I assure you, within 2 months, we'll finish the issue of banditry. But there's no provision for that. People have been complaining that money being given to defense. What is them? This is what we have. And people are expecting us to do extra things out of the budget. We cannot do it, Mr. Chairman. So I believe this House will consider more funding to the Ministry of Defense so that even within our own, as a ministers, we can be able to provide some equipment to some flash areas of attacks. It is all over the country. If you go to southwest, southeast, northeast, north central, northwest. But if you look at the budget of 2025, 50 billion to Ministry of Defense. But other people outside are thinking that the whole money of Nigeria is into the Ministry of Defense. It is not like that. You know about that. We cannot be able to renovate any barracks in 2024. We have a lot of complaints. We cannot be able to pay some of their entitlement, the military. They are into theaters, operations. We cannot be able to pay. In fact, this month, I have to write a letter to Mr. President to pay even the presidential guards. The money was not there. So, Mr. Chairman, I believe this committee can look into the issue of the Ministry of Defense to see how you can be able to squeeze and add more funding to the ministry so as at least you can expect more from us. We thank you very much, and we assure you that despite the fact that with the limited resources, the ministry and the personnel are doing their best to ensure safety of all citizens. I thank the honorable members for listening to us. Thank you very much.
And your team. Mr. Chairman, first and foremost, I want to introduce myself because I've not done so. My name is Honorable Chief Dr. Philip Agbese. I represent the good people of Ado, Okpoko, Ogbadibo Federal Constituency. I'm from Benue State. Mr. Chairman, you know, in the Parliament here we have established an age-long protocol and tradition that when former members of the Parliament visit for issues like this, we accord them the necessary respect in line with our protocol, take a bow and go. But in this case, Mr. Chairman, let me start by thanking Mr. President for recognizing this Parliament, the institution that the Honorable Minister represents, as the bastion of our democracy today, and people who have performed very, very excellently well in the Federal Executive Council. Many members of the former members of the House of Representatives who are in the cabinet are really doing us proud, which the Honorable Minister of Defense is one of them. So we're proud of him. Secondly, what I would like to say that the challenges that he has enumerated are things that we all know. And moving a motion before this committee, Mr. Chairman, that we should grant explicit approval to the request that he has made is the fact that one time we saw the Honorable Minister and the Chief of Defense Staff leading our troops to the Northwest, you know, to confront the bandits. Initially, when we saw it on television, we thought it was the usual political engagement by our leaders, you know, to just give us photographs and videos that will appeal to the masses. But 2-3 weeks after that time, we saw that some of the notorious bandit leaders, you know, after that visit were killed, some were captured by our troops, which attests to the importance of that visit. So the ministry is really, really doing well. I want to attest to that, and it is because we don't clap here. I would have asked Mr. Chairman that we should, you know, clap for the minister and what they are doing. So in line with that protocol, having established that, Mr. Chairman, sir, I want to move a motion before this Parliament. First, to commend the Honourable Minister for what the military are doing in the Northwest and across the country, particularly in Benue State. We used to have this issue of herders farmers crisis before now. Since he came on board in the last 2 years, we have not had this problem anywhere in Benue State. We give credit to Mr. President and to the capable minister that he has appointed and what the services are doing. So I'm rising to move this motion that we should grant their request and find a way to even add more support so that they can do more in 2025. I so move, Mr. Chairman, sir.
My chairman, Honorable Minister, with due respect, honestly speaking, what my brother said earlier, I also wanted to say, but I don't need to repeat it. I only want to lend my voice to say that we are now hearing success stories from the Ministry of Defense, unlike before. And I know you. You are one of those people that don't relent in whatever you want to do, and we are seeing results. Thank you for that relentlessness. What you have said, particularly the non-payment of the group life insurance, is basically important because so many things attest to people joining military or joining civil service if there is job security, and when one goes, he leaves behind something that will allow him to rest in his grave. But what we are seeing from what you have said, about 20 billion to settle some of the distance for some of the fallen heroes, I think is basically important that this committee, my chairman being an ex-military man, will definitely look into it together with the members of this committee to ensure that Even if it means writing separately to Mr. President to ask for that one, the ministry will do that. The committee will definitely do that for you. And thirdly, I want to give you this thing, an advice. Please don't overlook the payment of the junior staff. We have problem with some of them that don't receive their allowances on time, and they are the ones that normally fail you. The best thing is to please ensure that day in, day out, the welfare of your junior staffs are taken into consideration. They are your informants, they are your everything, they are your obstacles. If you treat them well, definitely you will not have these issues of failures. Every day we come to the National Assembly, there's matter of national urgent importance. That is, there's problem in some of the constituencies where we have attacks day in, day out, matter of national insurance, insecurity. Please, sir, since you have already sworn that you will do it so that at least it will be reduced to the barest minimum. At least during your tenure, let there be an indelible mark for everybody to remember you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. And I'll piggyback on what my sister has talked about, which is remuneration of our service officers. I recently had a conversation with a group of Navy officers who told me that their salaries are paid in two tranches, one half from the Navy and the other from IPPS. And I was told with shock and horror that 6 months of their payments have not been paid from IPPS, that the other half from the Navy had been met, the obligations had been met, but that from August to date, none has been paid. So is this something that comes to your table, Honorable Minister?
Not the salary.
No, arrears.
It's arrears. And you know, arrears is not in the Ministry of Defense, it is Ministry of Finance. But I assure you that we're going to check about that and we ensure that that payment must be paid. Because we have done the same with the veterans, and Mr. President graciously approved 50 billion for us to pay the veterans. Last week, maybe you are aware that they blocked the Ministry of Finance, no in, no out. I have to talk to Mr. President, and he directed the Minister of Finance to release that funds and be paid that day. So we have no problem with that. Therefore, I will cross-check this, but I'm not aware about 6 months, and maybe it is there. Okay, please, let me have the details, please. Thank you.
Okay, final question.
3 weeks ago regarding the shelling of innocent person in a village of Silami local government of Sokoto State, whereby more than 15 people were burned to ashes and some were injured and are still in hospital. My question is, what measures is the ministry taking with regard to this accident in terms of finding the cause and then the disciplinary action as well as means of compensation to the victims of this accident? Thank you very much.
This in my local government Maradun when it happens. So I come to Sokoto, I visit the governor, maybe you are aware about that. I visited the governor. In fact, I have to do something for the victims that were in the hospital within my own capacity. I called Mr. President when I was in Maradun, and he directed me that I should quickly go to Sokoto to condole with the people and the government of Sokoto State, which I did. And a committee was set up to find out the cause of what happened. But sometimes, you know, we have problem on ourselves. Because I remember it's the same thing that happens when I was a governor. A community will sometimes call army as distress call if militants or bandits are coming to their communities. So when they come with both air and ground. The unfortunate situation that we have, some of these locals, they hold arms. And if we send our drones, particularly in the night, the drones has a sensor. What the sensor can detect is weapons. So if you see anyone with weapons, definitely that drone will strike that person. Because there's no anywhere that the government allow people to carry arms, nowhere in the law. And for the security to see someone with motorbike, because that is what the bandits are doing. So if they saw them, or maybe the sensor detects such people with arms, definitely they will strike them. And that is exactly what happened. And I discussed with the governor, but despite the fact that, yes, it happens, we have a committee that was set up in the ministry to find out the cause of what happened, and we are going to make it public for people to understand what happens, and we assure you that we're going to do justice for those that lost their life. Thank you.
Proposals. And with amendments. Which amendment?
We will bring that, Mr. Chairman. Yes, sir.
Has to come from
So I
Particularly
hereby...
on the group life insurance, that it was not captured on the budget. My sister Fatima Talba has stated it is a problem for us, and not just for everyone, that these people will have to take care of them. They have been killed every day. They have been killed. And nobody is taking care, even the family, even the burials. So at least this can ease their life, and these people, if they know that yes, the government is serious about taking care of them, even if they were killed, they will be more serious and they will go out and fight this. So I think you can consider some adjustment on the budget to approve something for this group life insurance. We propose like 20 billion. It will not be enough, but at least if we can have 20 billion, we can be able to reduce the tensions that we have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Today, on the floor of the House, we moved the motion, commending them, and a lot of contributors to that motion, including Honorable Sada Soli and some of my colleagues here. So indeed, in the 10th Assembly, ably led by the Speaker Abbas, we are so passionate about the welfare of the armed forces, and also the departed. There were suggestions on how we can assist their children with free education, free scholarships, and proposals that would ensure that the welfare of the military are adequately taken care of. So with that, I think we've come to the concluding part of this meeting, and accordingly, I adjourn the meeting sine die.
And Mr. Chairman, we our gallant soldiers and the veterans. That's the important of it. So we are going to celebrate that tomorrow, and I wish all of you will be there.
Thank you, sir.
In Africa. It is pertinent, however, sir, to state that effort of the center to continuously deliver on its mandate have been trailed with challenges over these years. This is in spite of the laudable progress achieved by the center. The center still grapples with the problems of inadequate accommodation, insufficient classrooms, dearth of modern equipment at the workshops, and inadequate utility to specialist vehicles. Others are dearth of information and communication technology, poor electrical supply, and unavailability of public water supply to the center. So our effort to put all this in shape have been continuous, but amidst dwindling and insufficient budgetary allocations. For instance, the planned increase of intake from 2,000 to 4,000, because recently, sir, we have requested that instead of personnel leaving the service going straight to Oshodi, we should think of bringing people who have at least 3 to 5 years before leaving the service, so that they have enough time before leaving the service to plan their lives and make useful use of their gratuity. The electricity consumption at the center also is further compounded by the increase in tariff of electricity. All this, having the center having 16 weeks in the training direction and other 50 workshops, make things a little bit difficult. The year 2024, sir, budget appropriation allocated a total of 8,226,087,943 naira 30 kobo to Nafric, comprising of personnel emolument, overhead, and capital. For 2025, sir, the budget proposal amounts to 12,229,871,116 naira. This comprises of personnel emolument of 8,618,198,718 naira, an overhead of 1,178,506,568 naira, and the capital at 2,503,165,830 naira. Sir, this amount is considered inadequate given the expected increase in number of trainees expected to be discharged from the service, which is estimated at about 4,000. The current increase in prices of goods and services as a result of the removal of fuel subsidy, floating of the naira, and payment of operational ration cash allowance to over 200 personnel of the demonstration company is another factor requiring intervention by the committee. The center has established demonstration company to enhance its physical security architecture and ensure extra vigilance day and night at the center. This definitely will necessitate additional allowance and ancillary costs for the center. To also meet up with the expanded trainee numbers, additional training support staff will urgently be required. The House of Reps Committee on Defense is therefore please requested to consider a robust upward review of the sum of 8,618,198,718 naira for Nafric personnel emolument in 2024. Same with the overhead, sir, and also the capital. Our prayer, sir. The following are Nafric prayer, sir. The House Committee should consider an upward review of the proposed sum of 8,618,198,718 naira to Nafric for personnel emolument in the year 2025. The House Committee should also consider an upward review of the sum of 1,178,506,568 naira to Nafric for overhead for the year 2025 budget. The House Committee is also requested to please consider an upward review of the training starter pack for the year 2025 due to high rates of inflation to 4 billion naira for inclusion in the capital budget. This at serial 3 of Annex C. Finally, the House Committee should also consider an upward review of the sum of 2,503,165,830 naira to NAFRIC for capital projects in the year 2025. Sir, this is our prayer, sir, and we pray that it is met. Thank you, sir.